regular run-of-the-mill sex is amazing, but once you start to mess around and enjoy the prostate side, you're basically improving your orgasm exponentially, where it just winds up being, once you start to have that type of orgasms, the sky's the limit.
I'm Amy.
I'm April.
Certified sex educators, sexperts of the year, and best-selling authors.
And we're on a mission to help you have more spicy, connected, and amazing shameless sex. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
We're so close, it's like we have our own language. We're making sex and relationships shameless.
To learn more, go to shamelesssex.com.
And for 15% off some of our favorite sex toys, use code SHAMELESSSEX at purepleasureshop.com.
You are listening to a Pleasure Podcast. For more from our Sex Podcast Collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, every booty.
Well, ooh, I see what you did there.
But seriously, I had to.
Oh, did you say but seriously?
Yeah. This is
wow.
punny. We're getting punny over here.
So the whole month of August, April and I turned to 16-year-old frat boys who are obsessed with teaching you all about anal.
Wouldn't it be fun if people just wrote us in with their funny, punny anal isms?
It would, but don't send dick pics.
No. We're talking about actually written things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
No pictorials.
Go to contact@shamelesssex.com.
Our poor assistant is going to be really
Our
upset.
assistant's be like, fuck you guys.
She's too sweet. She'd be like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's really cute. They're so sweet. If you want to do that, we'll probably create some content with it. You can be anonymous. And this is Anal August, our favorite month ever.
Why did Anal August become a thing?
Yeah, why isn't Anal April?
Well, I would have voted against that because I'm already probably pretty anal in the kitchen with cleanliness.
Yeah, but you like anal.
I do. Not all the time,
Anal
though.
April.
It's not for every day.
Oh, it's not an everyday thing.
Right.
No, it's not. It's not an everyday snack.
No.
It's not like coffee in the morning.
No. And it is pleasurable.
I guess for some people it may be.
This, what you've talked to.
This is not the part upside the everyday part.
Oh,
yes. For some people, for a lot of people, it is an everyday snack. Actually,
kind of like nuts.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you don't.
But so this episode was my first time talking to Dr. Evan Goldstein, but you've talked to him before and you were raving about him.
He's amazing because he's raw, he's real, and his whole profession is about the ass.
And you said you learned some stuff when you interviewed him, and I listened to that episode, the first roll. I couldn't, the first time it was out.
You were out of town or something.
Yeah, but this one was like mind-blowing because it's like
I still learned from this one too.
I learned so much. Yeah. I've talked about this when we were at getting our testosterone pellets together.
Like, so you want to talk about the ass or what?
I was talking to the people because they were asking me about something, and I won't say what, but about the butt. And I was like, we actually have an episode coming out August 5th that you need to listen to because he's genius.
Yeah. So yeah, he's amazing. So he definitely knows the butt. And this is his entire profession. He is humorous. He's playful. It feels relatable, and that's what I love because the ass is God, all the puns are like coming to my brain, but I'm trying to not be a frat boy. The ass is a vulnerable area of the body that it's a universal orifice, and yet a lot of people feel really insecure about it, like asking questions, talking about it,
or they feel like it's dirty.
Yeah,
they're like this stuff is supposed to go out.
Yeah.
I don't want things to go in.
But I kind of want it to go in.
Well, what was funny, before we were on, not today, but with Dr. Goldstein, there was a Roto-Rooter van because he's in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah, it's right behind him.
It was behind him. And I was like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And
did you pay for that?
Did you plan to have that Roto-Rooter?
Yeah.
I was like, because the plumbing is dialed with this episode.
The shit cleaners were there.
Oh, yeah.
So we're calling this Dr. Goldstein round 2.0 version of anal sex. And if you would like to learn more, hear more about him from our first episode, just go to the show notes. It will be in there.
Maybe we should call it Rump 2.
Ooh, rump.
Rump, like a rump.
Oh, rump. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
God damn it. We're like 16.
All right, we'll move on.
14? I don't know.
I don't know.
So speaking of being 14, we have a plug for you.
A butt plug?
A butt plug, a retreat butt plug.
I just want a butt plug. Oh, this is
We're
important.
actually plugging our retreat. Yeah.
I like how like various the English language is with what you can do with certain words, like plug.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
plug this in your ass.
Plug this in your ears too.
In your ears.
And come to our retreat.
Come to our retreat.
And you might get butt plugs.
You will, but we won't put them in your ass. It's not a gangbang. It's not an orgy.
Nope.
It's not a swingers party.
Nope.
Our next retreat is September 11th to 14th in Palm Springs area, and it is almost full. So go and sign up. Go to shamelesssex.com. You want to be
the retreat space.
You want to get plugged up.
Crazy beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And it is like a wedding venue usually. So check it out. Go to shamelesssex.com like Amy said and go to the events because it will fill up. We already are.
Did you say fill up?
We're going to fill you up like your butt. All right, sex question because I could go on with this. I'm not going to. Everyone's going to be so mad. They're going to fast forward this part. But
all right.
Shouldn't.
This is a real sex question, everyone. Let's take it seriously, but seriously.
Okay. All right. I'm down.
So it starts with butt stuff, period. I want to do more butt stuff, but I'm a single person. How can I access my own ass's ultimate pleasure? This question is amazing, first of all. And I understand why it's hard.
Was that it? Was that simple?
It. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
wait.
it.
Okay, first of all, kudos to this person that wrote the question.
Succinct.
The simplicity is really helpful because sometimes I get lost in the nuances. So thank you.
Yeah, so this person, which I don't know, because I saw the email, I don't know if this is a penis owner or a pussy owner. So we're going to actually look at this from penis owner asses versus pussy owner asses and how you can access your own ass.
So if they sent you a picture of their butthole,
please don't.
As we talked about
Please
with
don't.
Dr. Goldstein, which stay present for the interview because that was hilarious.
I think he's down to receive them. Yeah.
He said. So
not us.
Stay tuned and don't send us any butthole pictures and good luck taking it on your own because it's nearly impossible.
Yeah, good luck. So spread eagle in front of your mirror. That's like it's like part of my spank bank right now.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, we turned on.
Word,
okay, so
word.
So let's talk about penis owners first. So if you're a penis owner and you're this person asking this question, I want to access my own ass. I'm single, so I'm not relying on someone else to do anal stimulation, and I want to do it on my own for my own ass, and I have a penis. Chip, what do you think?
I would say, first of all, listen to this episode. No joke, because there's 3 different types of asses. And some can take it easier than others. So there's preparatory things you can do. And if you have a penis, you said you didn't know though, if they did.
I don't know.
But it doesn't matter because if you do, or mostly if you do though, Aneros has great products for the penis owners out there because they have like prostate toys that are designed for people that own prostates.
And like hands-free, right? You can put it in and then do your own thing, like whether it's masturbating or you're just actually doing Kegels where the prostate toy is massaging your prostate for you.
And okay, so, I have a new job and I'm not going to talk about it yet, but like a sex toy company that I love that's been around for 50 years, but they make really great suction toys that I've learned, and they have some anal suction toys that you can also check out.
So you can fuck yourself.
Fuck yourself
in the shower.
Yes. And it sticks really well to the shower. So you can find a great suction toy that is, I would say, smaller if they don't have a lot of experience.
I would go smaller
first.
Yes, start small, especially because it was silicone, because most of these toys are made of silicone or sometimes hard ABS plastic. Start smaller because it doesn't have, like, a body can shift because it has tissue with your body, but not all bodies can do that too. But also silicone and plastic does not. It just stays the way it is.
Yeah.
So go smaller.
And so Dr. Goldstein on this episode had this dilator that if you don't have like a YouTube like access and you're like, I don't know if I want to watch this YouTube video, but it's not bad. That we just are interviewing a doctor in a coat in a doctor's jacket. So he does pull out a non-phallic device that is very helpful that he talks about. So stay tuned for that. And it is something that you can, like, Pure Pleasure Shop does have access to a lot of different
all these
sized,
things. Yeah.
like anal devices.
Yeah. So for this person,
props?
Props.
Props?
I like all these. So if this person has a penis, you have a cock. Say penis when it's soft, cock when it's hard.
Nice.
So Aneros is the ultimate brand for self-stimulation and coupled partnered stimulation too, anally. And then go to purepleasureshop.com, use coupon code Shameless Sex to get 15% off. If you are a pussy owner, you still have basically the same setup. You just don't have the prostate in there. So you have the same thing with like an anus, a lot of stimulation there, like a lot of nerve endings, anal canal, and then the rectum. And so what I would suggest, and I think April would like this too, because April and I are both like, put it in my ass, but put a vibrator on my clit, girls.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have witchy ass orgasms.
It's true. It also takes the pressure off of you thinking about like all of like what's happening, meaning like I relax more, like my whole pelvic floor kind of relaxes
It's
more.
like all parts of your pelvic floor need to open up and relax
and
now.
bearing down is what I never thought was important until we've been learning now for 8 years on our podcast. And bearing down meaning like you kind of open up that orifice more.
It's like you're trying to actually push urine
Something
or
out.
poop out of
Right.
you, which doesn't make sense. You're so like, I'm doing it right now. I'm like, as if I'm trying to fart on the couch next to April. Sorry, that's exactly what it's like.
it is, and that's something that might be uncomfortable for people, but it does help you open up.
It does,
and I want to say, so you
and Uber lube too.
Oh well, yeah, you have don't do the spit thing, man.
Oh, God,
it
for the
absorbs
ass.
too quickly. Yeah. And you have something that you wrote down for like if you're pussy owners, but even any body like they talk about anal beads being really helpful. But like, I want to make a suggestion because I've seen so many anal beads that have the string attaching the beads. So don't buy those.
The porous.
They're porous.
And like they hold all the bacteria.
Ones, yeah. Do not, if you buy those, throw them out after one use because even if you wash them, fucking bleach
they're not
them,
washable.
No.
It's not. You actually can't.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
So remember that because you don't want some fecal organisms like you just went bowling and you stuck your fingers into a 3-pronged bowling ball, which those are fecal organisms.
This is great because she's a germaphobe, so I was like, I know exactly. Like she actually would have the Clorox wipes for the bowling.
Doesn't help you on some anal beads with string.
No, you
but
can't
anal
clean
beads
it.
on Pure Pleasure Shop, you have nothing.
No, yeah, we don't do string shit. No.
No.
Yeah. So if you go to April and Amy's faves, then you can see some of the things we're talking about. Or just go to the anal section. It's very curated now. It's like very much narrowed down to very specific products and brands.
And the plugs, you can get a plug.
You can get a plug.
And remember the plugs, we haven't talked about the anal plugs. Like we talked about a retreat plug, but this is different. With the anal plugs, those are to help your orifice open up.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels nice to just wear a plug for funsies. Like it's the feeling of fullness or relaxation. My guess is with this person's question, they want to like access anal pleasure. So it's going to be more about like, so anal beads are more like you put them in and when you're about to orgasm, you slowly take them out, not like a fucking chainsaw.
No.
And it enhances your orgasmic experience. And then plugs can be nice, but I would look for a plug that has texture. So if you want to do like an in-out thing because your anus has the most nerve endings. Like that's the magic spot right there that you're going to play with. Now here's the hard part. Moving your body around, contorting it so you can do these things. And that's why we love brands like Aneros or other things that you can just put in and do other things and you don't have to like actually use your hands to move them.
Okay, shameless admission for you.
Oh, what you got?
So your mom sent me the butt plug with the unicorn tail.
Oh, yes.
I still haven't used it.
Ah, shame.
It's too much of a conversation piece. That's great that I bust out when people are over and I'm like,
just for funsies. It's like you don't want to use it because you want to keep putting it on the dinner table.
Yeah. Well, I haven't put it on the dinner table, but I haven't used it yet, but I'm like, it's beautiful. It's glass. I don't know if you all still have it, but you can get plugs like that with fun like tails or jewels.
A fox or a rabbit.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
And so this weekend I was at a party for my niece's birthday. She's 26 and one of her, he listens to the podcast, but it's her like boyfriend's brother. And they listen to the podcast, but they don't talk to me a lot about sex. Like he's a fireman. So sometimes they get shy, him and his partner, but I guess they were moving house. And he said that his girlfriend was holding, or I think they're married, whatever, it doesn't matter. She was holding the baby and his dad was helping her move the bed.
They found the butt plugs?
And I guess when they were lifting the mattress, because he was working on a fireman shift.
They stashed them under the mattress.
So it like flew out and it rolled on the floor and made a ding, 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 because it was metal and then it was the jewel.
No.
And the dad was like,
la, 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 la,
what's that? And she was like, I've been
la,
looking for that.
la.
So he told me that. I died laughing and I was like, do you mind if I share that on the podcast? And I'm like, it's Anal August. And I think that is a shameless, awesome way to be. And they didn't have a conversation about it. She didn't talk to her father-in-law about it. But I was like, dude,
I just hope she got it at purepleasureshop.com.
Probably. Yeah, I hope so. I didn't ask that, but I'm like, damn.
Where did you get that thing?
Yeah. Now I smile with like enjoyment knowing that they're using plugs with crystals on the outside.
Oh, bling, bling.
Bling, bling, bling.
Sexy bling,
This
bling.
was a fun question.
I love this question.
Okay. This episode, you all are going to love this. So stay tuned because you're going to love Dr. Goldstein. So are you ready for his bio?
Heck yes.
Here we go. Dr. Evan Goldstein is the leading anal health expert in the U.S., author of But Seriously, the definitive guide to anal health, pleasure, and everything in between, and one of the few surgeons in the world whose practice is dedicated to treating and restoring the human butt. He has been featured in national publications, including, but not limited to, GQ, Men's Health, Cosmopolitan, and Forbes. To learn more, go to bespokesurgical.com.
All right, everyone, we are back here for the backdoor episode of early anal August. See what I did there? Isn't that fun?
That was great.
Yeah, it's good. And this is a wonderful repeat guest, Dr. Goldstein, who was here talking about anal sex. And he's one of the top advisors for anal sex, health, and pleasure in the United States. And I was like, you need to come back for Anal August. It's our favorite month. We just love everything anal. And he has so many phenomenal tips and ideas about anal sex, health, and pleasure. So without further ado, here we go. Welcome back to the show, first of all. And
thank you.
Yes, thank you. We're super excited to have you here. And this is your first time meeting April because she wasn't here for that recording. So
I'm honored.
Yes.
I am. I heard
too.
so many great things. Amy's like, you're going to love him.
Talk about the Roto-Rooter truck.
It's gone now.
It's
It
gone.
left. It left.
It was, in the window behind him. We're like, did you like set this up or? It's perfect. So y'all already heard a little bit about the doctor in the intro and the bio. And if you listen to the past episode, then you already know a little bit about this wonderful human. But can you please God, I'm already doing it. It's already happening. Can you please tell us and our listeners a little bit more about how you got into the field of sexuality?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely never on my radar. I never thought I'd be playing with ass all day. That's for sure. I was training to be a heart surgeon, and I was just miserable. I was not out in my world. I met Andy, my current partner. We have two boys that are 14, and I started to kind of really look at my own life and start to experiment anally myself and realize, like, hold on a second, like, there's no education, there's no access to healthcare, there's no place that destigmatizes anal. Like, who's doing that? And I was kind of miserable in heart surgery. And I was like, I don't care if I'm fixing the heart or fixing the ass. I'll do it. And so I really came out in many ways and then started to realize that this was such a huge need, not only in the gay community, in anyone that has an ass. And what can we do to provide that space? And so I launched with Bespoke Surgical, which was my practice here in Manhattan. And it was all to really destigmatize, take the taboo out of anal sex, talk about it, educate, and then have a place where if things go wrong, how do we allow you to engage the way that you want to? And through doing that, it spawned off so many different things, from just obviously the surgical care, but also physical therapy, and then the aesthetics arm of what we do, to writing a book called But Seriously, to then starting a really great products company called Future Method. And all of these things kind of really spearheaded from looking at all of these communities that wanted to engage in sex, that they should. We only have one asshole and we only have one sexual life. And why shouldn't we do the things that we want to do? And how do I provide the assets to do it, basically?
I love your puns. So, and your bunny pun. Yes, it's beautiful. And this is the beginning of Anal August. And I think it's great to have you as this leading healthcare professional dedicated to the human butt, right? It's so beautiful to talk to you, and you have a lot of amazing credentials. And I love your story because necessity is why a lot of folks get into the profession they're into, but also being passionate about it is so important. So I love that you're dedicated to the butt, and happy Anal August to everyone out there. And Anal August just isn't about having anal sex. It's also about learning about your body, your anus, your pleasure that can be received through that orifice. So we're excited to have you back on the show, and I'm excited to have you for the first time as a guest for myself. So why is, and I love this term, proper anal care so important?
Yeah, I mean, I think that has a huge terminology, right? I mean, what is proper anal care to one person may be different to the other. I mean, I think at the end of the day, when you look at the orifice itself, just like vaginal care and just like uterine care and doing all those things, I think just in essence, if you're engaging in life, whether it's pooping and whether it's sex, things can happen, right? Whether it's hemorrhoids, which are these dilated veins, whether it's tearing, which I see a lot more in the female population, just because the skin is really, really softer and a lot more fragile, to anal cancers, depending upon from an HPV perspective. There's so many different facets that go into that, what we would define as anal care. I think from an anal August perspective, for me, I really just want to educate people on, well, how do you even understand the architecture of the ass to actually even think that it's something that would be pleasurable to you or your partner or partners? And a lot of people are just trying to get into anal. And it's like, well, how do you do it? And nobody really talks about that.
We do, and we love it. And we're happy that you're talking about it. So it's great to have you.
And with what you said, so I had another question, but with what you just said, can we talk about the architecture of the ass then?
Yeah,
and
totally.
also like pussy owner asses versus penis owner asses?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. Everyone has muscle and everybody has skin, and that's basically it. So there's three sets of muscles in everybody's ass. If you and I are squeezing our assholes right now, and the
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. What you say?
Squeeze. You're squeezing the first two muscles. You're not squeezing the third muscle. That third muscle is called the internal sphincter. That's the one that sometimes doesn't listen to you or I, where it's like, hey, I want to enjoy a toy or I want to have penetrative sex, and it just doesn't go in, or it feels too tight, or I'm having discomfort. And it's usually that third muscle that is just way tighter in many people. Now, when you look at prostate borne versus non-prostate bearing, right? When you look at that, the reality is that the female pelvis, and I put it into quotes because it depends on what you want to define, but the female pelvis is geared for pregnancy. It is. And the reality is that in order to deliver a baby, your muscles need to be much more capable of relaxation. Whereas prostate bearing, it's not. It's full of muscle in that space. So, and why do I say that? Well, a lot of people come to me specifically in the gay male sector where their muscles are really too tight. And that third muscle just doesn't want to listen and relax and open. I rarely see that in the female space, honestly. I think what I see the most is skin issues. And so let's talk about it. We have the muscle that needs to relax, but we also have the skin that needs to open and accommodate. And not only does it need to accommodate, it needs to absorb the force of anal sex. So if you think of the force of pooping, it's here. The force of anal can be on a spectrum, but it can be quite high. So if you are able to relax the muscle, but your skin is very thin and fragile, it's going to be painful. You're going to tear. It's going to have issues associated with it. So I always tell people I'm about 60% functional work, 40% mental and neurologic work. So when I talk to you about the skin and the muscle, okay, innately, it all depends on what type of skin and muscle you have, but it also depends how it's connected here, because your wiring to control the squeeze, the relaxation, does it feel comfortable, the pleasure, all of those things play into anal, where I not only understand the physical, I also try to understand the connection and the mental, which then allows you to really understand the architecture of your ass to then figure out what you're capable of or what I need to do either in the office to help. We'll talk about anal Botox, I'm sure, and some of these other things. Or do I need to do surgery because there's something that is blocking the way, the muscle's an issue, the skin's an issue, and no matter what we want to do easy-wise, we can't do that until I set the architecture the right way.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I also like the term architecture, the anal architecture.
Yes.
So like if I'm really into anal and into like giving and caring, am I an anal architect?
I think you are. Just in nature of what you do, you are an architect.
All right, thank you. Before we dive into more of the tips and more of the architecture and landscape, why do you think it's such a difficult conversation for people, including professionals, right? Talking about anal when as like health professionals maybe not talking about the anal aspect of sexual health, or people talking about their own anal health and pleasure with partners and lovers.
It's just this stigma and taboo that has continued to plague the landscape. It's like the final frontier of sex is kind of anal sex, and let alone thinking about gay sex. I think we still have some time, but from when I started 15 years to now, and thankfully for people like you that are podcasting and blogging and writing, people, it starts to become much more in their vernaculum that they're like, wow, that makes sense. I think if you take it out of the kind of, people think it's dirty. People think that, you're going to shit on each other. It's a dirty act. It's not meant for that. And you can go down that road. And, in the book, we talk a lot about the shame and the stigmas, and we break them down. And you're like, okay, yeah, but like nipple play or like licking under your arms or licking in your groin areas is so sensitive and so pleasurable. Well, why can't the ass have positive pleasure zones, right? We talk about the P spot and the A spot, which is the prostate and prostate bearing, and the A spot. And those are amazing nerve endings. Well, why would there be amazing nerve endings in those places if you couldn't stimulate them and be heightened by all of that? But, everyone has this internalized aspect, especially in the hetero world, which is like, oh, if I take it up the ass, I must be gay. Well, no, that may be so, but the reality is that most people know it's not, right? I mean, the element is that pleasure is pleasure. And so I think we just have to continue to keep talking about it and dispelling these myths and making sure that people start to feel more comfortable. I do see all generations, and right now the younger generation is so fluid and so positive and so pleasure centric, whatever that is, that it's super, amazing to see that finally I think we're pushing the waves that sexuality should actually be not even discussed, and it shouldn't even be a spectrum. It should just be whatever feels good.
Yeah.
You know what has been adding some serious spark to my routine? Well, let me tell you, it's masterclass. I just finished learning negotiation skills from Chris Voss, and I picked up some delicious new recipes with Gordon Ramsay, all in one app.
I am right there with you, Chip. I sneak in a quick class on creative writing with Margaret Atwood while making my morning coffee. Or sometimes I get relationship tips from Esther Perel.
The one and only.
I know, yeah, on my commute. And with Masterclass, you can learn from the very best to become your best whenever you want, wherever you want.
Exactly. It's just $10 a month, billed annually. You get unlimited access to over 200 classes taught by world-renowned experts. And with thousands of bite-sized lessons, it's easy to fit learning into even your busy schedule.
So instead of mindlessly scrolling, I know you're doing that, why not level up your life? Whether you want to master your relationships, start a new hobby, or maybe, finally learn how to cook, Masterclass is your ticket. And every new annual membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out at all.
And plus, right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/shameless. Again, that's 15% off at masterclass.com/shameless. Okay, one more time, y'all. Masterclass.com/shameless.
Shake and bake.
Hey, Pod Fam. We want to tell you about supplements that work. So listen up if you want to take your sex life into overdrive.
VB Health offers unique doctor-formulated supplements that are made with ingredients backed by academic and clinical research. And by yours truly.
And me too.
Yeah, chip and dip. Plus, they're publicly tested by third-party labs, which is rare, y'all.
I take my soaking wet supplements every single day because it really works for me. It's got all the good stuff a vagina needs. Probiotics, prebiotics, and vitamins specifically designed for total vaginal health. You gotta love that wet ass pussy.
Yeah, girl. And I am obsessed with their Drive Boost formula. It's libido support that's safe and effective for all people. And it's not some shady libido pill with mystery ingredients either. Just a libido supplement you can trust to help take you to DTF mode.
And we can't forget about Load Boost, a supplement that increases semen volume, sperm health, and even makes semen taste yummy, yummy better. My partner swears by it, and so do I, because if he forgets to take it, I notice a difference right away. Dudes, get yourself some Load Boost right now. Your partner will thank you.
And as always, VB Health offers a 100-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to vb.health.com and use code Shameless at checkout to get 10% off your purchase. That's vb.health.com, code Shameless for wetter pussies, tastier loads, and a bangin' libido. The link is in the episode description.
We're not preaching to people and telling them you should have anal sex. And it is something that I was hoping to experience in my life, and when I did, but I didn't trust the partners before my partner now to experience that with the other person. But I always wanted to have anal sex, and I was like, but it's just not the time, because there's that oops where something goes into your ass unexpectedly. There's like a penis,
the oops, like where you're like,
yes,
you're
and
hurting.
then like, oh, and
you're like wrong hole.
Yeah, wrong hole.
And so finally, I'm like, I'm ready, and it's one of my favorite experiences during sexual play. Now, I want to be clear though, because I've had so many people and friends say, April, you talk about anal sex and you say how great it is, and I've tried, and I it doesn't feel good. And I'm like, well, this is a great conversation for the proper anal care conversation with not only with you, but how that is with penis owners versus vulva owners. And a lot of the folks are vulva owners, that women that have said this, like friends that know how much I like it and how much I talk about it, and have said, like, no, it's not for me. And I'm like, just give it, don't write it off entirely in your life, because it may not be for you at some point, but you could come back and revisit it. And here's some tools for you. Listen to this episode, because Dr. Goldstein knows about what to do. So proper anal care. What are there differences for those women and those men out there that you want to speak to?
Yeah, I think first of all is understanding the architecture. And, obviously many people come to New York, or they're in New York where they have access where I can define that architecture. So let's just talk about what I do in the office to give the listeners an understanding. And then I could tell them what they can do at home to see what type of ass they actually have. So when people come in, obviously we do a detailed sexual history. I look at and try to figure out, where do people want to go? Is it just run-of-the-mill anal? Is it fists? Is it double penetration? Like, that changes what I need to do and understand. So it's a little bit more of figuring out the landscape of what people want to do sexually, right? Then I take a look inside with a small camera, and I'm looking at what type of muscle do you have? How responsive is it? What type of skin architecture is in that space? Then I wind up sending to our physical therapist, and we do a specific test on the muscle, which we ask you to squeeze and relax. And we're studying, because we know there are 3 groups of bottoms. The first group is about a third of people in the world, and they can take anything right from birth. And they're blessed. They are blessed bottoms.
So these are like assholes that open up easily, right?
Easily. Yep.
Easily opening assholes.
They open, they close, they're able to receive. And that's about a third of people. And then there are 2/3 of people that don't have that. And that's probably what you're relating to on some of your friends and whatnot, which is, I can't fully relax. I feel like there's pain. It's not pleasurable. Sometimes I feel like I need to take a shit. I just can't overcome that side of it. And that group is the remainder, almost about 60 to 70%. But you can actually break that group into half, where 50% of those people can learn, and we'll talk about the right ways to do things. So they can actually learn the right ways to engage. The others need augmentation, anal Botox, physical therapy, me doing surgery to kind of set the stage for success. So I always say, why don't we first think of the person that wants to engage, that can't come and see me, that knows nothing about anal? What do you do? I say, well, the reality is that, that was the birth of Future Method, which was, how do we use glass anal dilators to actually start training the muscle? And so when you look at glass dilators, let's say we're taking these, okay? Let's start with the small.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, he's holding them up. You got to go to YouTube.
Okay. Now, in terms of this, think of the 3 muscles that we have there, right? I am going to lubricate this entire, and I like silicone-based lube. You could do water-based, you could do anything. Glass is really great because it picks up really the right amount of lube. Also, glass is easy to clean. It's not porous. It's not going to break, okay? And the nice thing about it is it's weighted, because I need something that is hefty to engage those muscles, because muscles are, obviously it's tight, it's squeezed 99.9% of the day. So I literally start a program, which is a 6-week protocol of using toys. So if you say, hey, honey, I want to engage in anal, it should be about 6 weeks before you're actually engaging in anal. Why? Because I need the first 2 weeks for you to use the small toy. And what does it do? It starts to strengthen the skin. By creating friction and going in and out, the skin starts to get stronger and able to tolerate the pressure. If you go, people get hurt because they go from nothing to dick. And so what happens is all of a sudden now you stretch so much that the skin is so thin, especially in that female pelvis, that it tears, it's painful, or you get this irritation and you're like, get the fuck out of me. That's not happening, right? And so the key is, by using something like this, you are now strengthening the skin, getting a little bit more elasticity in a very gradual way, and then you're learning how to actually engage those 3 muscles, learning the mechanism of relaxation. Now, during this, and we talk in the book, and we talk a lot on Future Method and my practice of like, well, what are the telltale signs of like, is the small hurting me? Am I bleeding? Is there irritation? And then it gives you this whole criteria for you to look at to figure out, well, wait a second, what group am I in? Am I in, hey, it flies right in, I feel really comfortable? Or is it, and we have these groups called Maximus, Mediocris, and Nopus, anal Nopus, which is group 3, which is like, that shit's not happening. And so again, what you'll do is you'll always start with the small toy, but then you'll start to gradually go from small into medium, and then from medium into large, and you'll start to really see that the architecture is working. And so if you are in that group 1 or 2, and you're gradually progressing, you feel sexy and you feel comfortable and you're in a good space, by 4 to 6 weeks, you should really be ready to start engaging with a partner. And the reality is like, okay, let's say I did the toys, small, medium, and large. It's working. I feel good. No pain, no bleeding. I'm starting to feel some pleasure in the space. I would say, okay, I'm going to do those toys either as foreplay with my partner or right before I'm engaging, so that I'm pre-lubricated, I'm pre-dilated, and then I'm going to get my partner to just get hard and have them lay there, and I'm going to be on top, using them as a dilator as first, so that you're able to kind of sit and navigate and really start to understand the architecture. And then as you start to feel more comfortable, you can start going into different positions as you feel like this is really happening. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yes. So can you tell from what type of butt someone has if they sent you like a picture? Like if Amy and I set up pictures of our buttholes, because we did this with a friend because because she did. We all took pictures. She was asking us about her butthole because she has hemorrhoids. And she's like, can you just take a picture of it so I can see it? And I was like, sure. And Amy and I were together. I was like, absolutely. So she's been a friend of mine, for a best friend for a long time.
We did a butthole show and tell
in college. And so she did it. And then Amy's like, I want to do it. So then she did it. And then I did it. And I have them saved on my phone in the hidden section because I want privacy for my friends. So I'm wondering, if we sent you those, could you tell what type of
we are? I could tell certain things. So you'd probably have to do not only the pictures, but you'd have to do a little bit of a video where you're like squeezing the thing.
Yeah.
So I
need to see the action.
I need to see the action of it.
Our next trip to Austin, Amy.
We're not telling listeners, by the way, to send him videos of their buttholes.
Yeah, sorry.
You got to pay for that.
Yeah.
But people send me butthole pictures all the time, and I'm totally fine with you sending it to me because I can tell you what the issues are. But I think you raise an interesting point, right? When you take a picture and you start to see extra skin or these little hemorrhoids, those are the things that start to create friction with sex. So think about like the best asses in the world are basically pipes. Okay, there's nothing blocking it. I know you're
pointing at April.
Apparently, I have a pretty asshole. That's what they were like. Your butthole. I was like, really?
It also likes to take it in. Okay,
yeah, it likes it.
I don't know if a personal experience.
So you're probably, but you may be in group one, which you're blessed. And I mean, come on,
yay, celebration! In August.
But I think many people aren't as blessed as April.
No,
right?
they're not.
And so the question is, again, and that's where I think the toy stuff is really important, because a lot of people don't have access to coming to me in New York, or they don't have access to this type of care where it's like, okay, if you're doing the toy protocol, you'll actually be able to see what group you're in, because you'll within very short times. Now, remember, many people, when they're engaging, they feel like they got to poop. Many people talk about that, where your body reflexively senses something entering the ass, and it normally thinks it's poop. Mm-hmm. So over time, by doing toys, what you're doing is you're kind of deadening, in a good way, that nerve ending to start creating more pleasure in that space. And people say, well, what's the pleasure from? Well, a lot of it is the A spot. Now, what is the A spot? It's about 3 to 5 centimeters inside someone's ass. And I always think of the hole as towards the vaginal side, towards the penis would be 6 o'clock. Towards the tailbone would be 12 o'clock. And so think of it like a clock, okay? So at 6 o'clock inside with a toy, you're going to be hitting the A spot. Now, the A spot is where the prostate is. So there's lots of nerve endings in people that have prostates, and there's lots of nerve endings where people that don't have prostates. Now, from a non-prostate bearing, I can't tell you, is it the A spot fully that's getting you off? Is it the translational hitting the cervix and the vagina, and people think that there's a posterior clitoris also in that space? So is it translational as to why anal is so heightened in born females? I think it's a combination of everything. And the issue is you just need to find that spot, because once you start to do that in a very controlled way, your orgasms are just that much different and that much more heightened, specifically also in anyone bearing a prostate. Regular run-of-the-mill sex is amazing, but once you start to mess around and enjoy the prostate side, you're basically improving your orgasm exponentially, where it just winds up being, once you start to have that type of orgasms, the sky's the limit. It really opens, Anal's the
opens
soul.
a lot.
It gets the soul,
It's a deep opening. And with also adding to with what you're saying too, another piece could also be, because I know when you work with people, it's not just about the physical body. You also work on like them with the emotional self. And so another part is the taboo, the hotness, the nastiness, the dirtiness, right? Like this is this thing that you're maybe not supposed to do, or is like the ultimate submission in a like dominance and submission. I think you can add all these pieces that can really play into the hotness of it, and it's so different for everyone. And now you're blowing our minds with like, actually there are bodies that are very different, like 1/3 here, 1/3 there, 1/3 over there. So yeah, that's amazing to think about why the ass is so beautiful and complicated at the same time.
I think a lot of that is also, I feel like in a lot of sex, right? It's not only anal. When you learn so much from going into the uncomfortable. And it's not pain. I'm not saying that. It's the mental side of the unknown, right? When you go to the unknown, you open and expand your world, but it's not easy to do that. And I think one of the things when people come to the office here, I'm taking them into an uncomfortable situation that you have to learn how to become comfortable. Because when you can control that, you can really heighten all sexual experiences. And with that being said, I think one of the main things when you talk about all of this is really, first of all, like, who are you on the spectrum of what you want to achieve? And also, like, how do you learn to kind of navigate your own world where you're able to still be in control? We talk a lot about being submissive. People think that if you take it up the ass, you have to be submissive. And the answer is not at all. I mean, a lot of what we do is, how do you be a bottom that is in control? You could still be submissive and in control. And being submissive and in control is knowing your body, understanding that you need to prep the right way, understanding that you need to dilate, and especially if it's a big dick, what are you going to do to get to that level? And you could still be in that role play, but still set yourself up for success. And I think that that's a lot of what we're doing on our side, which is, now that we have the science and we're bridging all of this to educate people, I think it's now allowing people to think differently in all sex, but obviously specifically anally.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. I think that's a great point.
Fact. Most pussy owners need some sort of clitoral stimulation to orgasm, and many are not having orgasms from penetrative sex.
Say what?
I know, right? This is one of the many reasons why we are obsessed with OMG Yes. Not only has it changed our lives in the orgasm department, but I've been recommending OMG Yes to my clients for years, and it's completely changed their sex lives as well. OMG Yes features scientific research of real vulva owners, aka women, showing techniques to pleasure the pussy. They turn the research into tasteful, educational short videos, animated modules, and infographics for easy visual learning.
They call it OMG Yes for a reason, because OMG Yes is for anyone who wants to learn about pussy pleasure or take it to the next level. Whether you're a beginner or someone who wants to take your orgasms from good to mind-blowing, then you need to check out OMG Yes. They have 3 seasons: external pleasure, internal pleasure, and sex toys. It's not a subscription service, y'all, so you don't need to download a single thing. And it's great for partners who want to pleasure that pussy too. And for listeners of our show, OMG Yes is offering 10% off when you go to omgyes.com/shameless. Again, that's omgyes.com/shameless to receive 10% off unlimited access towards enhancing your pleasure power forever. Newsflash, everybody. We are picky about our lubes.
Can we say uber picky?
Yes, we can. And let me tell you all why Uber Lube is our absolute favorite lube ever. Uber Lube is a luxurious silicone lubricant that I want all over my body. Yes, it's designed for sex because it enhances intimacy while allowing you to still feel the skin-on-skin contact, but it feels so good that I want it everywhere. Uberlube is long-lasting, leaves your skin feeling velvety smooth, and it's there when you want it, but then it dissipates when you're done.
Yes. Aside from using Uberlube for all of my sexy sessions, and I use it all the time, I also use it for massages, for my hair frizzies, to prevent chafing, and it brings out the color of your beautiful tattoos. Thousands of doctors and therapists in the US alone are recommending Uberlube to their patients because it's body-friendly, less likely to change the pH, and has vitamin E so it feels moisturizing on the skin. Uberlube has no flavor or scent, which means it's also great for oral sex. And it comes in a beautiful glass bottle with a pump top, which means easy access to Pleasure Town.
Want to see why we think Uberlube is the best lube in the world? Then go to uberlube.com and use discount code SHAMELESS to get 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com right now with code SHAMELESS for 10% off and free shipping. You've touched on so many things already with different tips because our listeners love tips. And because of that, I want to know about like the next level. So I think for beginners, we have some great information, right? And if there are folks out there listening that are probably more intermediate or advanced folks that have experienced that with anal pleasure, and they might want to look for the 2.0 version of anal play, which we don't talk about as much. So I'm wondering if there's a person out there saying, oh, I've been doing this for a while. What are some things I should do to move to the next level in
like a video game, like an anal video game?
I want to get to level 2.8, or so that you would suggest for these folks listening out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it really depends on what your level 2.0 is, right? You know, I mean, I think it's first defining that. If you're able to achieve toys and you're able to achieve run-of-the-mill anal, and you want to start, some of it could just be changing positions and starting to kind of look at challenging positions. In the book, we do peaches. We do a scale of like 1 peach, 2 peach, 3 peaches for more advanced, right? Because the more advanced is a lot of lifting and hoisting and putting you in weird contorted positions where certain things may have felt comfortable when you're doing it on your own, but now with someone thrusting in that space, it can be challenging. Some people want to go to bigger toys. A lot of people want to go to potentially fisting or double penetration. And again, anything can be totally accessible. It's more of less is more and gradual progression in anything. So even though we talk about beginners, it's also, okay, the next 2.0. And I do a lot with kind of, if you're looking like at the cone, a cone is really, really good, especially on the female architecture, because what this does is people get limited on skin. So if you think of a pizza pie, I always use that analogy, okay? Most people need 8 slices of pizza to engage in really good anal sex. But most women have 7 slices. They need 8 slices. You need a little bit more room. Think about with pregnancy, why episiotomies happen. Why do people tear? Because again, the pelvis, the skin, the muscles aren't able to open as well as you would want it to. And it's multifactorial. What type of pelvis do you have? What angle do you have? What skin? What muscle architecture? So there's so much that goes into that. So that's what we're translating on an anal perspective. So when people are doing the glass, they'll start with the glass to really understand the muscle. How does it functionally work? And then they'll go into a cone.
And it's not like the cone you see in the street. Yeah, yeah.
No, it's not a traffic cone.
It's a small one, yeah.
Not so small down here. But with that being said, what this does is it really starts to stretch the skin isolated in a really good way. And think about it. That skin is what people hit first, right? Most people are like, okay, let me just put a little bit of lube or spit and I'll just shove it in, right? We know that that's not the right way to do it. And it could be hot and it could be sexy and it's all well and good, but you need to really learn what works for you to get everything to work correctly. But if you're going to 2.0 and you want to start going bigger and better and more aggressive, the key is, how do you really work to get a little bit more room in the skin to now allow the skin to be tougher and the skin to now have the pressure reduction to allow you to engage. Now, a couple of things that I do in the office that I think would also help the listeners. So when people are seeing me, I try to look at the skin and the muscle. We do a lot of anal Botox, and especially people that want to go to 2.0 because they're able to get to 1.0, but they feel restricted to go further. And so that is a lot of work we do in the office. So anal Botox. Anal Botox relaxes the muscle. Remember, we spoke about the three muscles. So the two that you're able to squeeze, we don't give Botox into. So you're still able to squeeze. You're not going to shit on the street. You may have a little bit more gas. I know women don't fart, but you will fart.
Oh, we do. You should have heard me last night. Okay.
So with that said, the third muscle is where we give Botox. Now, in men with thicker pelvises, we usually give about 100 units of Botox. In women, we usually do about half that to start because the muscle's not as thick in that space. Okay. But what that does is it starts to allow the reflex to open. So a lot of people, if you're going to something bigger, what happens? Mentally, you clamp down. You get tighter in that space. And then you're like, okay, this is not happening. Get the fuck out of me. So, but by giving the Botox, it now allows that muscle to be more relaxed. And think about like a big rubber band, those big restoration hardware catalogs that have the rubber bands on it. You try to get the rubber band off and it's really tight. Well, if I give Botox to that rubber band, now you're able to see that it's allowed to be more relaxed. It lasts for about 3 months. Most people don't need to do it more than 2 to 3 sessions because it's all muscle memory. Once I get the muscle into a better space, now you're able to get there on your own. But what it does is it takes the muscle out of the equation. So now people can really focus on the skin and the architecture of the surrounding structures to allow them to get to the 2.0. Now, there are some people that still come to me where their skin tears a little bit. They get these micro fissures, these micro tears. That's where the bigger toys like the cone start to really work the skin. Think of you and I going to the gym, and I think we spoke about this last time, that you get calluses from a bar. Same concept. If you're sticking something up your ass periodically, you're going to thicken the skin and get it strong enough so that you don't keep tearing. Also, we have a device here that's called Tempsure. And Tempsure, a lot of people are using it vaginally for post-pregnancy or as we're all aging to kind of tighten and pull in and keep that skin in that area a little bit tighter. So we translated it on the anal side, and it has been an absolute game changer. And basically what it does is it's just a probe that heats the collagen in that space. And by doing that, it tells the collagen to get stronger and get tougher, because I see so many people that I don't need to do surgery on. They're not there yet, but they're in that middle ground where they're still having this irritation that limits them. So a lot of toy work and Botox and this Tempsure device that people do helps to kind of allow them to get to either it's 1.0 because they were limited to start with anal, or the next phase of what they want that anal to be.
And you're not talking about doing this because your partner is like, I want your ass to open up. Maybe that's a part of the equation, but also you spoke to this earlier, amazing orgasms, pleasure, regardless of you having a pussy or a cock, or I love how you said prostate owner or bearer, sorry, or however you said that. I loved that. So it's not like do this so that you can make your partner happy, even if this is not your journey. It's also like there's really good pleasure and enjoyment on the other side. Just like April was saying, some of her best orgasms have been through anal or with anal as a part of it. So this is not to convince everyone like you need to go and get the cone. It's to make the world happy or have the best sex. It's just that there's some really good stuff on the other side of all of this.
And I think the one thing to think about also is, first of all, when I talk about toys and we talk about it in the book and everything, I want you to do it on your own for you, right? And that's what you're getting at, which is like, you need to first explore your own pleasure. And I think that, again, that's a lot of the education that none of us ever had, which was always like, oh, your first time, someone will just stick it in and do its thing. You're like, no. You need to understand who you are. How does it feel? How do you get off? I always tell people, like, watch your partner jerk off or finger themselves or get off, because you'll learn so much about how they get off, right? Because you know your own body. And so the 6 weeks of toy protocol, I want you to do on your own. Do it right before you shower, turn on the shower, don't clean out, don't douche. And we'll talk about that. I'm sure you don't, most people don't if you're pooping the right way. But just by learning and playing with yourself and being with yourself, you really start to kind of hone in on what this is. And then after that protocol, you can decide. You may say, I feel like I have to shit. I can't get over it, and it's not for me. Okay, then it's not for you. But many people, I think, will never take that journey and will never realize how much pleasure they did not seek throughout their entire lives if they didn't try. And it may only be, I only like the small toy, and that's fine for me. Great, then bring that into your play just because of that. I think it just depends on where you want to go. But you have to first just start if it's something in your mind that is titillating you.
Yeah. Okay. So you spoke about shit. So pooping. So we have that one. And so I'm going to combine these in a really nasty question all in one. But I think pooping shouldn't be as nasty because we're all doing it, everyone.
Yes.
You and I have differing opinions about this one too.
Okay. So this is a question that April and I have discussed in terms of our own personal experiences. We've discussed with people who have been on our show. And so the poop part is going to be the second layer of it. Everyone's like, so what's going to happen? Okay, so jizz in the ass. Proper etiquette to make it as easy and comfortable as possible. April and I have very different experiences. For me, and I think with what you're saying, it's the design of my body kind of gets trapped inside, even if I'm super hydrated. And for April, it doesn't. So for me, I feel kind of like bloated and uncomfortable. For April, she's like, jizz in the ass is just fine. And then let's combine that with the poop part. Well,
sure.
There it is. Good luck.
So I think the whole jizz in the ass situation, I'm not sure that the jizz in the ass is making you feel bloated. It's probably the act of sex and the air and whether or not someone's going in and out and thrusting and kind of basically the buildup.
No, because I don't feel that. I've had anal without. I had a lot of anal without jizz in my ass.
Oh God!
And I didn't
feel
that
specifically.
It was just when, like, if you like, if I so.
It's like stimulating to you. Yeah, it's stimulating to you. You feel it.
I figured out the answer. I was going to ask you about it, but for me, I need to like run to the toilet, sit down, and like almost like
get it out,
poop it out.
Yeah.
Whereas April has said like it's not really the case, and so for me, when I do that, it works out really well. Otherwise, I'm like I get like a stomach ache.
Yeah. And again, everybody is definitely different, and I for sure hear that side of both of it. I think the main issue of why people probably get rid of the jizz, first of all, it's sexy and it's amazing. I mean, so okay, but the problem is that with the muscle that's there, many people have really a timeline where the muscle comes back to being tighter. So there is this lapse where you're basically gaping a little bit. And so if you just pull your pants up and go out for your day or your night, you're going to have lucky little swimming friends that are going to kind of come out. And so I think a lot of that is really, well, how long is that refractory period for people? Some people, you come out of their ass and they're literally completely closed and they leave the jizz in, it gets absorbed and it's no big deal and it doesn't create an issue. Most people would then clean themselves, shower, and then just kind of, empty that space to get rid of it. But it all depends on, you and how you feel with it. But it's probably more of a stimulant for you where, again, the act, some people with douching, and then finally with the jizz, it creates that reflex for you. Mm-hmm. So let it out, let it out. Even let it out on your partner.
It works really well. Yeah, on your partner.
I love that. And there is something to say though for anal experiences where that has been the case for me, where it has just been easily shrunk back to its size and there's not a gaping situation that I know of. But there have been other times where I would have to use the toilet, the loo, more often because I will have like tiny bits of, like BMs happening that are just small, and it's like I have to be close to a bathroom, and sometimes I'll be like, I have to record today. There's no time for anal because if I have to use the bathroom more often, that's not going to
Tuesday morning anal sex.
No. And I've learned that over time, and I'm not sure because it's not the case all the time. So I don't know really what's happening, but I don't expect that to happen every time. But sometimes there is some precaution that I will take just in case that will be the case. So I don't know if you want to speak to that, if maybe it's the foods I'm eating.
This is not personal at all. We're not using you as our
no. Well, but it probably can happen to other people. I've heard of them 100%. Talking about this.
Yeah. I mean, I think, first of all, let's just talk about gut health and then butt health. Because I think people have this notion that everybody needs to clean out and douche and go crazy and irritating. And so let's just talk about that first. I think the best bottoms in the world, they are using fiber and pre and probiotics and food and diet to create a regular bowel movement. And when you look at dogs taking a shit on the street, most of them, it's a perfect poop. They don't even need to wipe, and what comes out, and it's because of their diet. Now, us Western diets are terrible, and so it becomes mush and a significant amount of problems, and nobody's getting enough fiber in our diets that you need to supplement it. Whether you're using our brands, whether you're using others, whether you're using Metamucil, whatever, I don't care. The concept is it's a bell-shaped curve. So how do you start to add incrementally some more fiber into your routine so that you're bulking the stool? You don't want to go on the other side of the curve because then you're becoming too constipated. People with Ozempic and Wegovy and Zepbound, it's really lovely because it makes us look what you want it to be, but it constipates people. Oh. And so a lot of people love it for bottoming, but you have to strain more, you have more potential issues, etc. So you have to go on these protocols to allow things to move freely, but you also want the shit to be kind of soft but log-like, right? Yeah. Where it just comes out and you don't even need to wipe.
Clean wipe.
Clean wipe. Exactly.
Everyone loves it. Like, hey, I did it. Clean wipe.
That's good
totally
stuff.
That's a good shit. Yes. Right? That's amazing. Now, with that being said, I will say that that's where I want you to use the toys and not to clean out and douche. Because I want to show you that most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, the area that we are engaging in anal sex will actually be clean. Because stool is higher up in what's called the sigmoid colon. So let's just talk about a normal bowel movement. I wake up in the morning, I feel like I have to go poop. Why is that? Because when you stand up, you're moving that stool from the colon into the rectum. Now you sense it. So you're brushing your teeth, you're getting ready to go to work or whatnot, the gym, you sense, oh, I think I need to go poop. But what the stool has done is it's actually hit that third muscle. Remember that muscle that reflexively you can't control?
The Botox muscle.
Exactly. It now told that muscle to relax. So what you're doing is you're squeezing the other two. You're now saying, oh God, I need to go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom, you relax those other two muscles, and the poop goes out. When the poop goes out, the area where we're having anal sex, if it's a good bowel movement, you're fiber bound, you're doing right, is now clean of shit. And so prove it to yourself. Now, if I have Chipotle, no offense to Chipotle.
A bunch of Indian food, don't recommend.
Not sponsored by Chipotle or Indian food.
I just can't do it. I just can't do it if you're bottoming, right? You have to figure out what works for you. But I think a lot of it is people are over douching, and douching is whether you're using water or we have a product where we put a powder pack into water because we know water or enemas really fucks with the microbiome. And it's very similar to a lot of women with vaginal infections and yeast infections and issues in that space. It's all related to the microbiome, and the same thing anally. So we know if people are douching with water or enemas, or they're douching with large volumes, or they're douching way too much, the internal lining, the protective lining, is basically washed away. And so when you are having sex, you have a higher incidence of HIV, a higher incidence of STDs, and a higher incidence of anal injury. So the key is, how do you either not douche at all and feel comfortable in that space? And that's also going to making sure that we stop with the whole stigma of poop, right? And learning how to deal with that. But the other is, if you are going to douche, how do you douche with the right solution or the right amount, and titrating down? Less is always more. And I say, think about it. We want to irrigate where the rectum is. We don't want to irrigate where the colon is. Many people will irrigate 2 times and they're like, oh, I'm clean. Let me just do 1 more time. And that 3rd time, it goes a little higher into the colon and it elicits a bowel movement. So now they're shitting, they have to clean more, they have to douche more. So getting to yours is really more of the act of sex, also maybe moving some of the stool into a different location so that after you have a bowel movement, after you have sex and you get rid of the friends, if you decide to, you then
friends. That's not friends. Bye, friends. Bye. Blessings.
You may have stool there or a little bit that's in that space. And you're right. I don't know. Is it what you ate the day before?
I do get colonics from time to time. Is that something that you would not recommend? Because colonics.
No.
Okay.
I think colonics are, I think the key is time to time. If you're having anal sex 2 to 3 times a week and you're basically cleaning out, you're basically doing a lot of colonics a lot of times, and that's not good for you. I think the key is, I understand why people love colonics, but again, moderation. If you're doing them periodically, every quarter or half a year, whatever it is,
every
to clean
few years,
out
really,
feel comfortable, that's totally great. It's more of chronic use, especially in the gay space. Yeah. People are having anal 2 to 3 times a week, taking tremendous amount of sex and loads and all of that, which I'm all for. But think about how much needs to happen for douching and preparing and causing all these issues. Lots of these people continue to have higher risk of issues. And so how do you use diet and fiber and pre and probiotics and start to learn your body of what you should and shouldn't eat in a way that allows you to be nourished? Because many people starve themselves, which I'm not for. Yeah. But also for you to feel confident, because we know that if you don't feel confident, it changes the game of being successful, specifically anally.
We know about like vaginal flora and vaginal douching and how that's not really that helpful because it wipes out the natural flora. So you're saying that we have anal flora too. There's some really good things there, and if we continue to keep the squeaky clean, then we're wiping out some of the good stuff. And then you're also saying, like, for personally, I took this from you of like, okay, so I'm gonna start practicing with some of your glass dilators in my own ass to have a better understanding of it. So with whatever my situations are, whether it's like constipation or like jizz in the ass, then I have a better understanding of my body and what will work well. And so I'm enlightened.
Me too.
I think the thing is, when you look at the reason why you talk about vaginal flora is a lot of people, it constantly changes, right? From whether that someone's using a tampon to, the way that someone is menstruating, to if they are using lube, to then also if they're not using condoms, then what's the flora of the penis? And it starts to create a whole dynamic, right? Well, water-based lube is the same as water. It is what's called hypoosmolar. And what it does is it fucks with the microbiome. Mm-hmm. And so when you're douching with water and then you're using water-based lubes, the glycerin, the issues that are in that space, that really causes a lot of problems. And so the key is really to kind of understand that flora and keep it in balance. And that's really, when we look at the birth of future method, it was bringing the science into sex and delivering it into products, which is, well, if you are going to douche, how do we come up with something that is going to allow you to not fuck with the microbiome? And so we have these powder packs, basically like Crystal Light, that you put into 4 ounces of drinkable water, and it neutralizes it. It makes you feel sexy and silky, but it doesn't fuck with the microbiome. we only came out on a silicone lube perspective on purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, the reality is that silicone lube, especially to start from an anal perspective, is the best lube for anal. Doesn't fuck with the microbiome, and it allows the lube to stay there in such a good way that it decreases force and pressure. And so all of this is, and getting back to kind of wrapping up the whole ass, is it's all about that. It's all about pressure in your hole, right? Is the pressure coming from muscle? I love that you guys.
I told to April, I was like, I told you love him.
So it's all about pressure, and you need to learn the equilibrium of that, right? Which is, how do you receive and with the lowest amount of pressure and the highest amount of pleasure? Yeah. If that is off, the muscle's too tight, the skin is fracturing and having issues, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And the key for our listeners is really, what type of hole do you have? What's your anatomy? What's your psychology? What are all these things? And I hope that this stimulated people in a way that allows you to really understand that there's a science to this. And if we all were educated, I think everybody would fucking take it up the ass. And not only during anal August,
all year long.
All fucking year long. Exactly.
I love this.
I am so on board with what you're doing and what you've said on this interview. And I did listen to the one that you recorded with Amy, and I thought you were brilliant. And the future method is, I know where you can get a lot of your products that you have suggested on the show, and then you can probably there's probably a lot more on there that we didn't have time to get to. Will you tell folks where they can find, if they aren't in Manhattan, because I know you're in New York, if they want to buy your book, but seriously, if they want to work with you, if they are able to visit you where you are, and also anything about the future method, how can we find more of you, Dr. Evan Goldstein? Because I fucked it up earlier. Sorry.
Wait, did I say Steen or Stein?
I said Steen and then Stein.
It's Steen, but call me Evan. Fuck. Totally fine. So for me, it's on Instagram is usually the easiest. It's Dr. Evan Goldstein. So Dr. Evan Goldstein. And you could send me pictures of your ass. It's totally fine. Many people DM me and all this stuff. I do a lot of Zoom conferences and calls with many people from all over the world. So it kind of to work people and couples through a lot of what we do. My practice in New York is called Bespoke Surgical. Online, you can Google all that stuff and get on bespokesurgical.com. And then Future Method, it's The Future Method on Instagram, but futuremethod.com. And whether you buy products, whether you use my services, all the stuff that we're talking about is on all these platforms to allow you the education. But seriously is everywhere. Thank the Lord. And it's
but seriously,
so you can get it either on Bespoke or Amazon or all the usual stuff that you can get the book. But I think, all of this plays into community-based practice, which is so cool for me. I didn't start thinking that I was going to do all of these things. It just wound up when you start to see ailments and you're seeing 90 people a week and you're doing 10 to 15 surgeries a week, you start to see commonalities. And with that, post-pregnancy, I see a lot of women post-pregnancy, hemorrhoids, skin tags. Even if they don't want to engage anally, they just don't feel sexy to have someone go down or have someone play in that space, even vaginally. And so a lot of what we do is just like bringing that sexy back into a really good space. And when I give someone back their sex world or enhance their sex world, it's like, it's such a cool gift from me. It gets me up every morning being like, how cool is this? Because it's not only for you and your partners, it just winds up being such a cool thing. And my surgeries are not crazy. It's like little things, but to now have the science to do it and to give people the sex lives that they always wanted is just so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Literally.
Fuck yeah. I wish we would have known about you while we were writing our book, because you would have been in our book.
Yeah, you would.
For sure. And
version 2. Here we go.
Version 2. And
let's talk about that later.
We should privately send him our butthole pictures, and then you could be like, identify whose butthole, match that butthole to the human.
You think it is?
Butthole the doctor.
Well, that just means that I got to come back. We got to do it. We got to do a third.
There we go. We're doing a third.
Oh my God, absolutely.
The
you
third
have been just amazing and incredible, inspirational, I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for being on the show again. And I can't wait to see you again. And I don't have a funny butt pun yet or anal pun, but I'll probably think of one before we have to exit. I hope you, oh, wait, that was good. Before we have to exit. Boom.
It just comes out. It just comes out.
It just comes out, you know?
So, but seriously, I really have enjoyed this. Thank you so much. For all of our listeners, we seriously enjoy you, and thank you for your support over these many years. Happy Anal August to you. Remember, check out Dr. Evan Goldstein's work and Instagram and get your butts out there and learn more about your anal pleasure from any standpoint that you're at, whether you're a 2.0, a 1.0, or a -5. I don't know, wherever you're at. And don't eat that Indian food before you're going to go deep in that anal canal. Okay. Last words of wisdom, review us so we're not mad at you. But seriously, we will plug up your hole with something good. Something great. But give us 5 stars. Okay. Happy Anal August again. Ciao for now. We'll see you next Tuesday. All right. Ciao for now.
Thank you. Bye.
To learn more, go to shamelesssex.com.
And for 15% off some of our favorite sex toys, use code SHAMELESSSEX at purepleasureshop.com.